Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. You're here again today with me, Jochebed Isaacs. In the previous lesson, we talked about wiping clean after using the toilet. Now this lesson will be all about using the bidet to clean up after using the toilet. And yes, we will try to cover both peeing and pooping. And in addition to the factors to consider before your child learns how to clean themselves after using the toilet, which are all listed in the previous lesson, to teach them to use a bidet would require a few more factors to be considered. Firstly, it's critical for the child to have a more developed fine motor coordination. To be able to confidently use a bidet for washing, a child would need to hold it firmly in one hand, using the palm and four fingers, while the thumb will be needed to press the switch. Then there's also the specific hands that need to be used for specific tasks. For example, part of some religious teachings include using the right hand to hold the bidet while the left hand will be cleaning their private part. So while the fine motor strength for both hands are important, so is the ability to differentiate the left and right hands and the specific movement for them. And lastly, the understanding of where to aim the water from the bidet. Children will be required to have some understanding on where to aim, especially because when they do use the bidet and aim it accurately, they won't actually be able to see it. Let's start teaching. If your child is already able to wipe their private area, as they have perhaps learned in lesson 6, then they're likely halfway there. They now have to use both hands to clean themselves, as opposed to just one hand in the previous lesson. The method to do this for both boys and girls is the same. The goal is for your child to eventually learn to take the bidet from the hook on the wall, position and orient it towards the private part, grip it and press the spray switch with one hand while wiping the area using the other hand. It does sound like a lot to do when we break it down like that, doesn't it? But now let's break it down. So essentially, we're using a backward chaining procedure in which one learns a skill beginning from the end of a step and working their way backwards to the initial steps. You could start by just teaching your child to just wipe the area while you spray the water. Then gradually work towards your child building the independence in holding the bidet while you press the switch, to then pressing the switch and holding the bidet in place, to orienting the bidet and using it on their own, to eventually picking up the bidet from the hook on the wall, position the bidet, orient it, press the switch and wipe. Okay, so let's go over the entire routine again. Always begin with a step to communicate the expectation super clearly to your child. This means very visually clear pictures and short and clear scripts to maintain consistency to all the adults who will be using the material. So begin with a social story. A video model can also help make the communication of expectations much clearer. Consider using a baby doll to show the routine as best as you can. A visual schedule will of course be handy to clearly show the exact steps involved in this routine. Don't worry, samples and templates of these resources can be found on our website at autismathome.co. And last but not least, a very strong reward. Also visuals, you can opt to use stickers in your teaching. Place specific stickers on the different parts of the bidet to indicate specific finger or hand placements for the child. Then to help break it down, you could consider using the bidet with the switch that can be locked. This way then they would not need to hold the bidet and press it throughout the time they're cleaning themselves, but they could instead just lift and lock the switch for the water to be released and they can then proceed with their routine. Specifically for pooping, you can also consider using the same additional materials recommended in the previous lessons, such as 2 balloons, a baby doll which has a plastic bottom, and some pasty type of substance such as a peanut butter or chocolate spread. Remember, simulation of the actual practice will help a child to visually understand the expectations. And don't forget to always encourage your child to take the toilet packs icon by the door to strengthen the initiation skill. You can also do the cleaning up part as part of the routine for your child to build familiarity and eventually independence. So let's look at the flow to incorporate when teaching this whole routine. Firstly, you're reading the social story to your child, then you're showing the video model, then you're saying let's practice, refer to the cleaning up visual schedule to check on the step to practice. But in terms of the difficulty levels, you can start the practices by spraying water on a doll and cleaning it first. Remember, for the girls, always do this front to back. Again, if it needs to be broken down further, You could just start with even spraying water and cleaning the table or a toy, as this is already an easier step for their gross motor movements. Then this can move on to spraying water and cleaning the bottom of a baby doll. Then this progresses to the 2 balloons attached on the child's bottom. Eventually, this progresses to cleaning the child's own bottom. Well, there you have it, the guideline to teaching your child with autism to use a bidet when cleaning up after the toilet. And now it's your turn. Assess which part of using the bidet that your child potentially could find difficult to do on their own. Identify the prompting strategies that would be best to implement with your child to address the challenges. Secondly, prepare the materials. Then begin practicing. Well, that's it for using the bidet after toileting. Do join us in our next lesson on initiating for the toilet and some nighttime tips. Thank you very much for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China and Brunei. Do get in touch with us for more information by scanning this QR code. And if you haven't already, do check out our online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the lesson videos, corresponding articles and downloadables available for you for free. Stay updated through our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. Do click on the subscribe and follow buttons to get more information. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.